Hi everyone, so finally Nowa 2.0 beta is here. We are sorry for the 1 day delay. We had to work on some stuff that was urgent in the last day and took us longer than what we expected at that time. So this is going to be an introduction video to the new things in Nowa 2.0 and how to use them. This will not go in details. We're going to do that in other upcoming videos and tutorials. And also keep in mind this is a beta version, which means that you might see problems, and when you see a problem, please report them on our community in Discord, in the private channels, and we're gonna work on them right away. We also granted everyone who signed for an early access a free premium account here for the duration of the beta, and this is because we want you to try out the desktop version. And the desktop version, when you download it for the Mac or for the Windows, you can create a local project. And here comes actually the main power of Nowa 2.0. So we would love you to try it out and tell us what do you think. So I already created this local project. So let's just jump to the point. So when you open Nowa 2.0, you will find it looks different than the ones already live. And there's some panels that looks different or change its locations. So the first thing first, on the left side, it's not anymore the files and the outlines as two different tabs. Now you will see the files taking the left side by itself because it's the main thing in your project. Here you will see all the boards, all the assets, all the files in your project, and you can even close it here so you can focus completely on building. Now you can also, of course, click on Ctrl O or Command O to open the files panel if you want to go to a file quickly. If you click on plus, you will see here that you can create a new board or a new widget or upload a file. So now we don't need that. So let's just start by dropping an empty screen, and let's just drop an bar. Okay, and this will call home. So let's just call it home. Okay, now you will see that you don't have the variables panel anymore. And this is because we moved it to something new we created called a single file preview. A single file preview, instead of having a board where you have multiple screens to create a design, we give you the option to focus on a single widget, whether it's like a screen or a widget. So let's just, or a component, I mean. So let's just jump in this. You can jump into the single file preview by two things. You can click on the button here, or in the files, you can just click on the file, the widget file, which can be a screen or a component. And this view will be open. This is the single file view. So here you will only see a single widget or a single file actually, because if this file contains two widgets or three widgets, you will see them here. So here I can see only empty as a widget because it's the only widget in this file. Now if I click on code, I can see here the source code of that file. Let's go back here. So here you will be able to focus completely on one single file. You can also click on play and play the app from that file, or play that file. You can restart the state, you can stop. So let's actually build something quick to see how it works. So I'm gonna just drop maybe Rive animation, and I'm gonna drop a button. Now here I can also resize the panels. So I have the like the variables, I can open and close it. I can close the details panel. So, and here on the left side, I can see the outline. I can close the files so I can focus completely here. I here can see also the errors. It will be like a pop-up. And on the right side, I can see the settings from here, and I can save the project here. And here I can start the emulator, the local emulator. Now, if I click here, I can see the Mac, the Chrome, and the iPad, but only because I'm not running now the Android or the iOS emulator. As soon as I run them, I can see them here. Okay, so let's now start with a simple use case. So I want to close the variables panel first, and I want to change. I want now to add another item to the animation list, and here I can control how it's look like. So I can make it rainy, I can make it sunny. So let's say I want to click on a button, and this will convert the animation from sunny to rainy, since we're already like in October. So this is actually what's happening right now. Okay, so I will create a variable out of, now for the Rive animation, the first item in the element in the list should be idle, and then here you can change the state. So I will create a variable. It's the same old way. Now here you will see something new called expression builder. So here you can build expressions, but it's still in its early stage, so we will not go through it in this video. We're gonna go through it in future videos. But for now, I'm gonna just create a variable out of this item from the list. So now when I change the variable, it will change. It will change the second item in the list, therefore it will change how the animation looks like. So if I select the variable here, now in the details panel will change to show the value, like the settings of that variable. It's not anymore a pop-up, it's now in the details panel. So now the default value is sunny because it was already on sunny before I set the default value. Okay, so now let's see something, a big change, which is the circuit. So now if you go to onPressed, you will see the circuit, and the circuit now looks completely different than before. So here it's a pop-up and it's vertical, not horizontal, and you will only see the statements, not the expressions. In the older circuit, the statements and the expressions are on the same graph. Now the statements are only visible and the expressions are inside the statements. What do I mean by that? Let's see. So here I can create an empty statement, and inside an empty statement I can do the expression. So here I can be like, okay, what I want to do is I want to bring the variable 1, so I'm simply gonna select the variable 1. So an expression is like something that has a value. So here, like the variable 1 is an expression because it returns a value of the variable 1. A statement is it does something. So here in this step I'm gonna do an action, and the action is I'm gonna set the variable to be a new value. So if I click on set variable 1, now I can change it, and I can here write down rainy. So now what's going to happen is like this statement will do something, and this something, or the action, will be changing the value of the variable 1 to make it rainy. And of course in the end I'm gonna refresh the screen in the same old way. So in the expression I will call refresh, which is set state. So here the refresh is an expression, but also it's a statement at the same time, because it's going to refresh the screen. And that's it. So these are like the graph I needed to do this action. Now I can click on play, and I can click here, it will become rainy. I can restart the state, so I can try again, it will be rainy, and I can then stop. Okay, now let's see some more advanced stuff in the circuit. So let's see, you can do now like an if statement, and an if statement here you can put here like statements that you want to execute when it's true. Also you can put here other statements when it's false. Now if in the if statement here it will ask you for a condition. Now it's true by default, will always go for the true section, but you can click on it, you can change it. You can create, let's say, a variable, and this variable will be like the thing that determine if statement should go for true or false. You can also build like an expression here, bring like an equality, like let's say if you want to do an operator, you want to do an equality, so you compare two values, and then if true, then it will go for the true side, for the true side of the if statement. So this is how the if statements work. Now something else is important to talk about is the API. So let's create very quickly an API. So if I come here and I create a new collection, I'm gonna keep it the same name, and then I can open it. By the way, you can actually from only one click see a preview on this file. So in the empty I can see a preview on this file, and also if I create, let's say, an object, I can also just put a name for it. If I click on it, I can here, for example, create new variables or create new functions inside that object, and I don't need to open it in a specific panel. This is one of the new updates. Let's go back to the collection, and let me create a request. Let's call it send data. And then here, for example, I'm gonna put like a link. So let me just write like any link randomly, for example. And let's me like create, let's say, a body or header. You can create the parameters here. It works exactly as, let's say, the old way. So let's say I'm gonna create like, let's say, okay, a message, and here I'm gonna create a parameter, and I'm gonna use this parameter here, for example. So I'm gonna do this, and then param. So I'm gonna use it inside the body. Now this is only like a dummy request, but the point is to show you how this now gonna work on the circuit. So if you want to load the data inside, you do it the same way with the data builder. But let's say you want to call the API from the circuit, and let's say if it was a post request, so you want to send something in the API. Now here we added something called try statement. So here it will try to perform something, and if it fails, for example, there is no internet or whatever the reason, it will go for on error. Now in the try statement, let me call this API. So I'm gonna create an empty statement, and here I'm gonna call the API, let's say, which called send data. Now send data has a parameter. I can pass a parameter, or if I'm gonna choose a parameter here, let's say variable 1. So now I'm passing variable 1 to this API. Now the new thing here is you can actually switch on await. So what this does is, like in the older Nowa, you had to go and click on value, and inside on value you have to build a callback of whatever gonna happen after the function executes and finishes, let's say, loading. But now you can do something which you can do usually with code, is await for a function to finish. So now when you do await, you can see this clock, which means that the execution will stop here and wait until the data is sent completely, and then it will continue here. So here, if you put anything after, you are sure that you will not start executing the things after unless sending data is successful. Now in the before version, you had to go for on value, and you might have to go to call refresh again inside on value, because on value might be called later when the all execution of the circuit is done, but you don't have this problem anymore. Now also, let's say send data returns some results. And also something else you can do is when you switch on this toggle, you can store the data that comes from this API, for example, in a variable. You can choose one of the variables exist, or you can create a new one. And this is how the new API will be called when using the circuit. Usually just use await, use try catch. So if it fails, you can also put here like an empty statement, and I can here, for example, choose an expression to print. And in the print, if I want, it asks me to pass a message, and the message I can connect it to something called E, which is the error that comes. So if send data fails for some reason, I can see the error. Okay, so this is, for example, how you can build the you can use the API. Now, I mean, the rest is the same as the older Nowa, so I don't have to go through everything. But now let me actually do something that's you guys will love and you guys been waiting for the most, the hybrid approach. So let me remove this button. I don't need it anymore, so I'm gonna just like remove it, and let me create a new file. So I can create a new Dart file. Okay, this is where I'm gonna place my custom code, and I'm gonna keep it called Dart file, for example. And now here, if I click on it, I will see just an empty file. But then here I can open it in VS Code. And in VS Code now, I have the project here. I need to wait until it loads and analyzes, because now everything is showing errors, but that's fine. It should take us some time until it loads, or maybe I need to just call Flutter pub get. Okay, so now it loads correctly. Okay, so this is a new file I created. So let's say I want to create a custom function. The way to do that is simply you create a function. So let's say I'm gonna call it print hi. Okay, and I'm gonna just maybe use Copilot, give me the autocomplete. So I'm gonna hi from hybrid approach. Okay, now for Nowa to be able to see the function that you created, you should give it an annotation. So annotation is simply, you can just put this and you can write custom function. And when you write custom functions, it should import Nowa runtime. So if you see a problem in the annotation itself, just import Nowa runtime. Also be sure to have the C and the F to be capital, and don't forget the brackets in the end. And this is how you can create now a custom function. That's it. Now if you go back to Nowa, for example, now I can see the file, what I wrote, I can see it here. By the way, I can also write custom function here, so I don't need to do it inside VS Code. I can also do it here, and I can also do it on in the browser. So I can see like print hi again, but maybe the autocomplete will not be as good as like VS Code, but it at least works. And I can like just copy and paste, let's say, the annotation. Okay, I forgot the annotation. Oops, nope, again. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So now if you go back to VS Code, okay, I need to save. If you don't see it, you need to like just click on save here, and then when you, you might need to click on compile, I think. Yes, and when you go back to the VS Code, you'll find the new function is here. So compile will actually, because save will only save on the visual things. If you modify anything with code, you have to compile it first. Okay, so now I created, let's say, two custom functions. And now I want here, when I click on the button, to call those custom functions. So on press, I will call an empty statement. And here inside, I can see print hi and print hi again, which are the custom functions I created. So I will just call print hi. Now, the thing is, you have to know one thing about using the custom function and the custom widget, is that because of limitations in Flutter and Dart, it's not possible for you to like call the function, the actual function, when you click on play here. And this is because you cannot dynamically load the code. So in order for you to test the custom function, you have to use an emulator. So for me, for example, I can run, let's say, an iOS emulator. So I'm gonna run simulator and actually try it out on the iOS simulator, or I can simply just play it with the Chrome. So both should work. But I'm gonna try out the simulator. Okay, unable to post simulator. Oh, this problem always happens with I need to clean the cache. Okay, anyway, I will have now to go with Chrome. So in this beta version, you might have some problems when you click on play here to play in a specific device. So just for the next few days until we release a fix for it, you need to run it from VS Code directly. So let me just check if I choose this screen as the home screen. Okay, now it's the home screen. So I'm gonna now save it, and in VS Code, I can then just like run the app. I want to run it like on Chrome, for example, and I can run. So okay, so now we have the app running, and if I click on this button, if I go to the debug console, I can see hi from hybrid approach. Now, this is like the simplest way, but you can use packages, you can do any function you want, and you can call it from inside Nowa. Okay, now let's, like in the next coming days, we're gonna release more use cases on using the custom functions. We're gonna release something advanced. Also, if there's any problem you face while using the custom functions, please let us know. Now, let me show you something else. Let me show you the custom widget. So I'm gonna create a custom widget. So I'm going to start with an annotation called custom widget. Okay, let me just write this correctly. And here I'm going to put a stateless widget, for example. I will call it my widget hybrid. I wrote it completely wrong. Hybrid. Okay, custom widget. Okay, I need the W to be capital. And I need to put the name as well here. Okay, so I created now this custom widget. And here, for example, I'm going to do something quick. So I'm going to just return a container. Okay, I'm going to trust the autocomplete. So I'm going to return, wait, I can have it constant. Okay, no, I cannot have it constant. I can have this constant. This is just like a small optimization. And also I can maybe, let's say I'm going to add a color, and let's say color.blue. So hybrid approach test. And here you can also do like any kind of widget inside. Maybe I will do maybe border, for example. Oh, decoration. Okay, I need to use decoration first. And then inside the decoration, okay, I don't want a background. Okay, let me choose a blue, and let me choose like a radius. Okay, so I created just this custom widget. Okay, and I give it the annotation of custom widget. So let's now go back to Nowa. And here you can find it here in the components. You can see, oh, my widget hybrid. But when you load it, it always will look like this. This is a placeholder for the same reason I told you about, that in Nowa it's for limitation. In Flutter, you cannot see the actual widget here because it's a local project. It's saved in your project. It's not on our cloud. Therefore, we are not able to build it and render it here. But this will be a placeholder for you to view it in the designer. But in the end, you can see the actual one when you use the actual emulator, which we also always like recommend for you to build with the emulator. So here, for example, I can just restart the app, and then here I can see the app with the widget that I created, hybrid approach test. And of course, now here I can literally use my beloved workflow of writing code. So I can like just remove this, or maybe make this like blue, or like, let's say red, and the hot reload will just hot reloads, and I can see the actual app. But in the end, I can also come back here and like let me just do this, some text here, for example, and do like some text and save it, and then go back here, and okay, did not load, so I need to hot restart, and then I can see the text here. So this is what we call with the hybrid approach. Now you might find still not perfect, so we're gonna work on it with you guys in this period until we get it to be exactly as you imagine. So please go play around, try to build something. We're gonna also send you links to jump on a call with us so we know more of what you want, and we will try to help you with the apps you build. Thank you so much for joining Nowa 2.0. We hope that we can, by the end of this beta, build something really amazing for you guys that helps you build the apps that you always wanted. Thank you for watching.